There is a saying that the comfort zone is where dreams die.
Yes.
But in my perspective, the comfort zone is where goals die. Because if you have something that you want to accomplish in the future, but you don't have a date, that's not a date, that's not a goal, it's just a dream.
Right.
And in my opinion, there cannot be growth unless you step out of the comfort zone. So the challenge is everybody's very comfortable in what's familiar. So the mindset of growth, it requires a little bit of effort, a little bit of, okay, I'm going to take courage, whether you have it or not, you just go and do whatever you need to do. And a little bit of planning, a little bit of luck, and a little bit of, well, sometimes a lot of luck, but the planning part of it is always necessary. But with a growth mindset, that can help you get to the places that you wanted to go. You were talking about earlier about learning and improving. For me, one thing that I subscribe to is the more I learn, the less I know. So that's the one thing I subscribe to, because the more I learn in my career, whether it's at the personal level or professional level, I realize that there is so much more out there that there is more to know. And there are people that can do things that I'm not really good at. So one time I tried to edit some couple of videos and like, okay, that's not for me. That's not for me. So then really being able to choose what you're good at, recognizing your gifts, and stepping out of the comfort zone once in a while, sure, but being able to delegate is also important too.
Yeah, that's about that. You're kind of talking, the way I phrase that is the idea of focus and efficiency. Because when you're focused on something that you're automatically, like that you're better at or that you enjoy or that you're good at, if you focus your attention on that, you're going to produce more output than if you focus on stuff you're not good at or that you don't enjoy, all these things. So, you want to stay focused, and that focus then allows you to be efficient as you're moving towards your goal. So from like a systems perspective, like I look at life and my business and all this stuff as like a business, basically, like systemically, how do I structure things so that I get to where I'm going in the most efficient way possible? One of the things I use to kind of like figure out what to focus on is the theory of constraints. And so just as a kind of a recap for those who haven't heard of theory of constraints before, the theory of constraints is basically where lean manufacturing comes from. And it's basically the idea that in any system or process, there's one bottleneck, there's one thing that kind of like limits the throughput of the process. So whenever I don't know what to do next to achieve a goal, I kind of focus on, okay, I ask the question, what's the constraint? What's the one hard thing that I have to accomplish in order to get to this goal? And it doesn't even have to be a business goal. It doesn't have to be like money related. It can be a personal goal. It can be like, for example, if somebody was single and they were looking for like, their husband or wife, and they haven't been able to do it up to this point. Okay, well, what's the constraint? I don't know what the answer is to that, but maybe it has something to do with, like, I'm not going on enough dates. Okay, why am I not going on enough dates? Well, because of like really focus on the thing that's going to make the difference. Because I think a lot of times what we have a tendency to do is we stay busy and then think we're busy, right? And that we're getting somewhere, and then we don't understand why we're not getting anywhere. Well, it's because you're focusing on all the other things in the process except for the one that makes the difference.